Hi, I'm Suzie. I'm the Industry Ambassador Coordinator for Minerals Matter. Let me start with a question. How many things did you use this morning that came from the ground? Your phone, your toothpaste, the road you travelled on, the building you're sitting in, the energy powering the room you're in. Modern life depends on materials and energy that have come from responsibly extracted areas of the earth, and that's where the extractives industry comes from. The extractive industry includes mining, quarrying, and energy production. It provides essential materials like stone, sand, clay, lithium, and copper, as well as oil, gas, and geothermal energy. These resources build our homes, schools, and hospitals. They power our technology, they support renewable energy systems, and even help to grow the food we eat. In the UK alone, around 50,000 people work directly in this sector, and many more jobs depend on it. At Minerals Matter, we work with companies across the industry to show young people that this sector is not old-fashioned or outdated. It's innovative, high-tech, and focused on building a more sustainable future. One of the biggest surprises for people to learn is just as many different careers exist within the sector. You could become a geologist or an engineer, analysing rock formations and designing sites. You could work as a plant operator or a driller, operating advanced machinery. You might focus on the environment, helping restore habitats and important diversity. You could move into management, health and safety, or even business roles like HR, finance, or marketing. Whether you enjoy being outdoors, working with technology, solving problems, or leading teams, there's a pathway that fits. And there isn't just one route in either. Many people start through apprenticeships or degree apprenticeships, while others go on to university or change careers later on. Employers often support further qualifications and offer strong starting salaries to provide clear progression opportunities. Another myth to challenge in this industry is not just about digging holes. Modern sites use data analytics, AI, drones, and even robotic technology to improve safety and efficiency. It's constantly evolving and investing in new solutions, particularly to help tackle climate change and reach net zero. So, why consider this sector? Because it's essential, it's global, it offers practical, rewarding careers where you can develop valuable skills and make a real impact. This industry isn't just about what we take from the ground, it's about what we build, power, and enable for the future. Today, we're going to hear from three different people from different parts of the sector, from renewable energy production, critical mineral extraction, and mineral products plant operation. These interviews should give you an opportunity to learn about the range of different roles available and some examples of routes into the sector.
So welcome back to National Careers Week. All week we've been speaking to individuals from different sectors, learning more about their job and how they got into those careers, and learning about some of the great sectors that exist in the country. So next up, we're delighted to be met by Harriet from Cornish Lithium. Hi, Harriet.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us. I understand you work for Cornish Lithium and you're a data scientist. So first question, the first obvious question I want to ask you is, what does a data scientist actually do?
Well, I do a lot of different things for the company. So although I am data scientist, I have also been referred to as data guru and Excel wizard, which I'm very happy to answer to as well. I'm based in the Lithium in Geothermal Waters team, which is based on our United Downs site. That project is focused on extracting lithium from naturally occurring geothermal waters deep beneath Cornwall's surface using a technique called direct lithium extraction. One of the really exciting parts of that is that we can also get heat from the geothermal system, which is a clean energy byproduct. So my role is all about using data science and machine learning to turn large and quite complex data sets into useful insights. So Cornish Lithium has an incredible amount of geological, drilling, operational data, and my job is to bring all of that together, analyse it, and help the company to make better informed decisions. I guess you could say in practical terms, that means helping us to understand the geology in more detail, optimise how and where we drill, and support the development of Cornish Lithium's wider pipelines of projects.
I have to ask you, when you were in school, a lot of the audience watching this are still in school. What attracted you to the minerals industry? I mean, was it something that was even on your radar when you were in year 10?
So I think growing up in Cornwall, mining's always been a part of the background. It did come up in school, in local history, and actually in small ways that you probably don't even really notice at the time. Actually, I remember, I think in primary school, I wrote a poem about mining. Later during my degree, I did a university project on mine water in Cornish mines. And actually, even my first proper job links back to mining in a very Cornish way. So I worked in a local bakery selling pasties. And of course, the Cornish pasty itself has its roots in mining. So in many ways, mining was always around me growing up, even before I realised it. I did love geography at school. That was my favourite subject at GCSE level. And I think that and that history led me to study earth sciences at university. And then I went on to complete a PhD on applying artificial intelligence and machine learning to geological data. When I finished my doctorate, the opportunity came up to join Cornish Lithium as a data scientist. And it was a chance to use exactly the skills that I developed during my degree and my PhD, but applying them to a real world challenge, and with some very exciting rocks in the county that I grew up in. I think there's also a well-known saying in the mining industry that I've heard a lot since starting at Cornish Lithium, which is, if you can't grow it, you have to mine it. And that's really stuck with me because minerals are everywhere in our everyday lives, from phones and computers to renewable energy technologies. And as we move towards a greener future, critical minerals like lithium become absolutely essential. I think probably what really attracted me to the mineral industry is how modern it is. So today's mining combines geology, engineering, data science, sustainability, and innovation. It's about problem solving, responsible resource development, and finding better ways of doing things.
That's really interesting, actually, that your job, I think people think minerals, they think rocks, right? They think that that's all they're going to be doing is studying rocks, but there's far more to it, especially with the use of technology. So give it a little peek into your day to day. So, how much actual geology is going on in your job? It sounds like that's part of it, but not all of it.
Yes, so I do sit in the geology office on site, so I'm constantly learning from the geologists and engineers around me, and there's always good rock chat happening somewhere nearby. I think the thing that I really enjoy most about my role is there isn't really a typical day. So I am the only data scientist at Cornish Lithium, which means my work's very varied. So while most of my time is focused on the Lithium in Geothermal Waters project, and I work very closely with the geology team, I also support other teams across the business. So that can include finance, ESG, environmental social governance, communications, and also our hard rock project over at Trelava. And that definitely keeps me on my toes. So I think if I think of a typical day, there isn't one, but it does always start with on-site with a cup of tea. That's a non-negotiable. From there, I usually check in with my colleagues, join a morning briefing, make sure I understand the priorities of the day. Then a lot of my time is spent working with data, as the name suggests. So in simple terms, that means taking large amounts of geological and operational data and turning that into something useful, spotting patterns, answering questions, and helping teams to make better decisions. I think working in the sector also means being part of something bigger for Cornwall and for the UK. So Cornwall has a long history of ingenuity and global influence in mining, and it's exciting to see that legacy carried forward, but using cutting-edge technology and more sustainable practices. So we're helping to connect Cornwall's mining past with a cleaner and greener future.
What's been the most exciting project then that you've worked on in your time there at Cornish Lithium? Something that you're really proud of, or one that stands out?
So there was a project that I worked on last year, which involved the archive data that we have at Cornish Lithium. So that includes things like mine plans from the 17 and 1800s, so really old drawings, documents, mine plans. But there's so much information in those, there's such a rich history, and we can use all of that information to help us model the underground now and help us to plan our operations in the future. So the idea behind it's quite simple. We scan in our documents, we give them references on a map so we can locate them, and then we can feed that into our modern models. One thing that I helped to find located points on maps was to take old 1908 OS maps from our archive. So if you think about the landscape of Cornwall today, it's very different to how it looked back in the 1800s when these drawings were drawn. So if we were to use a modern map, features that we see on those old documents wouldn't be there. So using those old maps, we can find those points in common. So I trained a machine learning model to automatically identify points that were of interest. So things like shafts, springs, wells, boundary stones. I think we had 23 different symbols. And then that automatically extracts those, locates them on a map, and we can pull up that data set to locate them. So we've got 32,000 points automatically extracted, which is quite a few. And I don't want to know how long that would have taken someone to do manually.
And that's one of the benefits of technology, isn't it, in your role and other roles as well, of course. But that would have taken a lot longer than the machine took to do. So I think my final question, and this is for young people who maybe not even considered working in your industry, what are the benefits of working, and maybe something that you didn't realize before entering this sector that's been a real surprise to you and a real benefit to you as well?
So I think the thing about the mining industry is it offers an exciting career with a lot of opportunities for growth. With the introduction of new technologies, there's a constant need to research, learn, and keep up with the major industry players. Mineral exploration and other fields of geology are continually advancing, making the work increasingly dynamic and exciting. Mining itself is a multidisciplinary industry. There's so many different career opportunities. Whatever branch of mining or industry that you're passionate about, go for it with confidence. I'd always recommend doing what you love, the things you're interested in, learn as much as possible and never doubt yourself. A key trait of being a scientist is curiosity and questioning how things around us work. For me, that embodies the essence of science, engineering, and developing technologies. So yeah, remain curious, ask questions, and never let anyone discourage you.
Harriet, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Harriet. Great to hear your pathway into your current role and how data can be combined with fieldwork to responsibly extract minerals from the ground.
So welcome back. It's National Careers Week, of course, and all week we're talking to people from different industries about what they do and how they got into their roles, and focusing at the moment on the minerals industry with Minerals Matter, who are the sponsors of this broadcast. So thank you for that. And delighted now to be joined by Claudia from Geothermal Engineering Limited. Hi, Claudia.
Hi, thank you for having me.
No, thank you so much for joining us. Really looking forward to interviewing you, because I think your role as community engagement and education officer is helping future talent get into the industry. But before we do talk about that, tell us a little bit about geothermal engineering, or GEL for short.
Okay, so Geothermal Engineering are the developers of the UK's very first geothermal power plant. So we are based just outside of Redruth in Cornwall, and we have just finished building the UK's first geothermal power plant. We also have a direct lithium extraction pilot plant on our site as well. So that's where the minerals kind of come in there. So we're doing both electricity and we're doing lithium as well, which is very, very exciting.
What a great career you have. I mean, how did you get into this? Because when you were in school, was this something that you even considered?
I always loved science. Realistically, I wanted to be an astrophysicist, but I wasn't very good at maths. I failed my A levels. I really tried and I just didn't have the memory for it, and I did really badly. I still got into uni though, and I did geology at the University of Plymouth, and that kind of stemmed my love for minerals, mining, extractive industries. I never really considered it as a career path until I think, my final year of uni, when we were doing like a mineral georesources course, like a module. And it was fascinating. Just the amount of stuff we can get from different rocks around the world is just amazing. So when I found an interest in that, I found a course at Camborne School of Mines. So that's down here in Cornwall on the Penryn campus with the University of Exeter. And I did my master's in mining environmental management. So I knew mining was really important because if something hasn't been grown, it has to have been mined. But I really wanted to do like the protection and the communication side of things. So that's how I've kind of found my way here.
And now you are encouraging others to join.
Well, yeah, it's an industry that often gets a bad reputation. I think mining, historically, it hasn't been sustainable. It hasn't necessarily cared about the environment as much as it should, but that's changing now. But we are seeing a kind of drop in numbers of people wanting to go into geology and geoscience. So I think it's really important for geology companies to come together and try and encourage people to, keep that talent pipeline going. Otherwise, we won't have people. A lot of people are retiring soon, so there's going to be a lot of jobs available.
Well, let's try and help you with that because, geology, it's something which I suppose can be argued is fairly niche as a study to take in the uni, but it sounds fascinating. It sounds really interesting, and you can learn so much, as you say, from rocks, volcanoes, and on other sites around the world. But it's more than that, isn't it? Let's talk about it's about our futures, isn't it? Because within those rocks is energy for starters. So, and we need to find new forms of energy. So, do you feel that you're part of that journey?
Oh, absolutely. I think geothermal is going to play an absolutely huge part in renewables. So geothermal electricity is what's called baseload. It's 24/7 energy. So unlike solar or wind, it's not reliant on the weather. It's 24/7. It's reliable. We know it's going to happen. We know we can make it. So we need more projects like this so that we can have more sustainable electricity. It's also things like it will drop the prices down for people. People don't realize actually how much electricity the UK buys in, especially from France, and it tends to be made from gas. So in general, more geothermal projects, the better.
And you said there about going to uni, but do you have to necessarily go to uni? For example, is there like an apprenticeship route into this industry?
There are many different routes. So I've done the university route, but my manager didn't go to uni. She didn't do A levels. She worked in banking for a long time and then took a career break to have her children. She then realized she missed working when they went to school and found herself working at different events, found this job and never looked back. She's not a geologist, but the amount that she has learnt has allowed her to, run a department of this company. It's amazing. And then we do have people that have done apprenticeships, especially engineers. There are quite a few people that have done apprenticeships here.
Yeah, and what would you say you need then? If this was a call to action to young people to consider this industry, what kind of skills are you looking for, or what do you want to try and get them to do once they're in this industry? Because you can teach them to do pretty much anything, can't you? But what is it you're in need of right now?
I think we don't have enough science communicators as an industry. We have a lot of amazing geologists, amazing geoscientists who are phenomenal at what they do, but they're not the best at promoting it or talking about it to other people that might not understand. So that's when you need someone who's a middleman. So that would be me, who understands the geology, can understand the science and make it digestible for other people. That is the point of my role. It's to encourage people to go into the industry, but also to help them understand what it is we're actually doing so that we can get rid of misconceptions and, spread correct information rather than people getting misinformation.
And Claudia, for someone who meets quite a few young people, I suspect in your role going into schools, what's the biggest misunderstanding they have about the sector that you think we need to try and demystify, really?
Well, for Cornwall specifically, I think a lot of them think the industry's not here anymore, which is really sad. Cornwall historically, think of like the Industrial Revolution in the Victorian era, that was all powered on Cornwall's geology and mining history. when that disappeared, I think a lot of young people in this area realised that they'd have to go into other lines of work. So down in Cornwall, especially, it's tourism and hospitality, and I think a lot of them feel like that's what they are, I guess, only capable of doing, and that's so not true. There are so many companies down here, including us, that are desperately trying to get more young people interested and involved in geology, in the area that they live in, the heritage and their culture. So it's just trying to reassure them that, look, the industries are coming back. We're trying to do it in a more sustainable way, and we need your help.
And finally, going in, we're in 2026 now. What excites you about the next 2 to 3 years? Where do you see this industry going, and how we can make, because some of these young people won't be joining you until probably 2030, 2031. What can they look forward to? What can you see happening in the next few years?
Well, the beginning of next year, our power plant will be up and running, hopefully January, February time. So that will be amazing. And once that's up and running, because it's the first one, it'll make it so much easier for other plants to be built. So we are looking at other areas. We do have other planning applications in and that have been accepted. So hopefully by, let's say, 2030, we'll have quite a few on the go. We'll be a larger company, and we'd be able to bring people in for internships, work experience, apprenticeships, and hopefully just give them that opportunity to explore different roles within both energy production and geology.
Claudia, thanks so much.
Thanks, Claudia, for giving your insights into your current job role and how important support roles are in helping people understand what geothermal energy is.
So welcome back to National Careers Week. All week we're talking to companies about the opportunities that they have within those different sectors and trying to help you when you leave school or college to find out what's out there. Delighted now to be joined by Mark from Heidelberg Materials. Hi, Mark.
Hi. Thank
you so much for joining us during a big week, this National Careers Week. I always enjoy this week because it gives young people a chance to learn what's out there. And I suspect not many have heard of Heidelberg Materials, but just tell me a little bit more about the organisation. And I believe you are an operations manager, so tell us what that means as well.
Yeah, so I'm Mark. I'm the ops manager at Heidelberg Materials at Ribblesdale Cement Works in Clitheroe in Lancashire. Heidelberg has a number of sort of different business lines. So we make construction products. So I make cement, but we have businesses that make aggregates, that make ready-mix concrete, asphalt. We've got a recycling business as well. So we tick every box in that respect. But yeah, I'm ops manager at the cement works, and I've been in the industry now for about 40 years. And being honest, every day is still a school day for me. So every day is different.
And for the minerals industry, one of the issues we have, isn't it, is attracting young people into it, because they may just think it's about somebody who likes to study rocks, but it could be further from the truth, could it? What your industry is really diverse, and the different roles within it are huge, aren't they?
Yeah, no, there's a vast amount of career choices. It's as you say, I think when people think about minerals industry, they think about sort of literally crushing rock and that's it. But there's so much more to it, whether it's actually finding rock in the first place with our minerals division, if you will, land and minerals function, whether it's how we market our product through our marketing department, how we sell it, commercial, how we get it to the customer, logistics, how we make it, so operations, production, how we keep the plant turning over, so our engineering function. There's lots of sort of different aspects and a multitude of sort of career choices for young people out there. But we are a bit of a hidden industry, to be fair.
And yourself, we know this broadcast, we're doing this with Minerals Matter, who are proud sponsors of this broadcast. And I know you're a STEM ambassador, Mark, aren't you? So you're no stranger to going into schools. What sort of work do you do with them when you go in?
It varies, to be honest. I think each school's at sort of different parts in their curriculum want different things. So it could be mock interviews. It could be a meet the expert session. It could be they have sort of science weeks where they want to come in and learn new products and processes. So it's really up to them to sort of ask what they want, and the materials that I deliver are tailored depending on what it is that they want to learn. So enjoy it. It's great engaging with young people, seeing the sort of faces light up. I mean, when you talk about cement, it doesn't always come across as the sort of most glamorous topic in the world, but I did a session probably a week and a half, 2 weeks ago with a bunch of 10-year-old kids and showed them how to sort of mix a little bit of concrete, and absolutely fascinated. So it's great engaging with youngsters. Really enjoy it. It's a really nice part of the job.
Sounds amazing. Who doesn't love mixing concrete? It's very, very satisfying, isn't it? Just going back, I want to take you back now to when you were in education, thinking about what you wanted to do. Was this industry on your mind even when you were in school about, an industry you'd like to join one day?
Not necessarily. I think I've kind of figured out, I think by the time I was 14, 15, that I wanted an engineering apprenticeship. And it was really the reputation of the business that got me into it. So I knew other people that had followed the apprenticeship path at Ribblesdale in cement, and they loved it. They were learning new skills. They were well paid. They enjoyed the work. They enjoyed the social aspect of it. Every day was different. They were working in a factory, as they put it, with no roof on. So, if you somebody that loves the great outdoors, then certainly this place is for you. So it wasn't so much the industry. I kind of got my mind set that I wanted an engineering apprenticeship, and it was the reputation of the business. It was kind of better known than as Castle Cement before it was Heidelberg, and it had an absolutely fantastic reputation locally as a really good employer that gave a fantastic apprenticeship to young people. So that's what got me interested.
And I take it that's still the case now. You do like to recruit young people into your business?
Yeah, to be honest, it's a really nice part of my role. It's a chance to give a bit back, really, in that obviously I've been in the industry for a while, and I started many years ago. And if you like, as an engineer, I know what it takes. As an individual, the sort of skills and competences that we're looking for young people. So it's great that I get the opportunity to engage with school children, and also to be able to onboard them via the sort of interview and recruitment process, and then look after them pastorally, so see them through college. We work in conjunction with Burnley College, and sort of seeing them go through the process there is really fulfilling. So yeah, I feel quite fortunate, to be honest. I enjoy that side of the role.
So you're the operations manager there. It's quite a generic title, and I guess no 2 days are the same, Mark. But if you had to sum it up, what your responsibilities are across the business, how would you do that?
So my biggest priority is safety, because obviously we work in a heavy engineering environment, so there's lots of potential hazards here. So therefore, my focus has got to be on making sure that people can do the respective tasks effectively, but they can get home safe. Beyond that, I'm responsible for the quality of the product, environmental impact, and generally managing the performance of the plant and people to make sure that we keep our costs under control and be competitive, because it's a tough market out there at the moment. And then, as you say, the STEM ambassador piece, which is the bit that I do for fun and enjoyment, to be honest. But yeah, that's kind of what my day-to-day looks like in a nutshell.
So what do you particularly enjoy about working there then? You mentioned already about the pride you feel about apprenticeships and STEM ambassador work you do, but as a company, what the things you're making in the community that people may not realize that you're behind, that if it wasn't for you, it wouldn't even exist. Is there anything you're particularly proud of? Maybe a local project you're working on?
I think there's a lot. I mean, to be fair, we're too many to mention. We make a lot of charitable donations locally. We also have volunteering days. So I think last year we worked with Chapman School This year, we're doing work with another local school, so our employees give up a day to go and work and support them with a project at the local school. But there's many things that we do. I think, in terms of what I'm proud of, I think it's the people side of things. That we've got a fantastic team here, and we try to have a bit of fun doing what we're doing. So we do quite a bit socially. We've got a cricket team, we've got a football team. We've just started a paddle team, which I'm not a member of because I don't think my knees would take it. But we've got a paddle team now. We do social evenings. So we like to have fun doing what we're doing. And I think it's that I'm most proud of, that we've got a really tight-knit team and we're all there for each other.
And the benefits of working in this industry, they might not be that well known. I mean, I think we'd all notice if retail packed up and went home one day, or hospitality did. We'd notice that, wouldn't we, when we couldn't go for a meal or couldn't buy any food from the shops. But it's probably less obvious to young people that if you weren't there, if the minerals industry didn't exist, what would they notice wasn't going to be available to them, perhaps in their community?
I think, as I said before, I think we're a real hidden industry that, we make cement at this site, and cement is a component part of concrete. And I think concrete's the sort of second most used natural resource in the world after water. And obviously, if you didn't have concrete, you wouldn't have the built environment. So you wouldn't have your schools, your homes, your hospitals, your retail parks. It's in everything around you. So I think we noticed pretty quick if we weren't making cement. That's for sure. But it's just something we all take for granted. We all, with our parents, disappear to B&Q at a weekend and expect to be able to pull a bag of cement off a pallet and take it home and do a little job at home. But nobody really understands and probably really thinks about where it comes from and the work that goes into it. So what we do is essential, absolutely essential to the infrastructure of our country. And if it wasn't, if we didn't have this industry, then the built environment wouldn't be there.
And finally, Mark, you go into schools, as you say, you speak to a lot of young people when you're talking about your role, and you maybe show them like making cement, which sounds a lot of fun, by the way. What do you think they think it is at the start of that session versus what they realize it is at the end? Because you said there was like a light bulb moment when they realize actually it's not what they thought it was. So what do you think the sector needs to do to really promote that to young people so they realize it's not just about crushing rocks?
I think it's there's a couple of things really. I think we do have to put ourselves out there more. I think in the UK we seem to focus on the really sort of glamorous and sexy industries like aerospace and automotive, and that's fine. But we're core to our country's infrastructure. So what we've got to do is sort of share the breadth of careers that are on offer. It's not just about breaking rocks. There's a lot more to it. And there are a vast amount of sort of career opportunities that are available. And I think we've got to be better at selling them. And I think as well, we've got to we've got to look at diversifying, because I think there's this myth that this industry it's a men-only industry, and it's not. We need diversity of thought in our business to make sure that we're attracting the best talent and we're developing the best solutions. And the only way that we'll do that and sort of face some of the challenges that we face, like sustainability and decarbonisation, the only way we'll do that is by having the best people, and that means we've got to have a more diverse workforce. So I think they're probably the kind of things that I'd like the industry to embrace. Be a bit more forceful and be a bit more proactive in terms of selling the different career choices that are out there and trying to make sure we're attracting the best talent.
Mark, thank you so much.
Yeah, pleasure.
Thanks, Mark, for showing the amount of opportunities and the longevity the mineral sector can provide. Thanks to all the people who have listened to our different job roles within the sector. If you want to find out more, you can go to our website www.mineralsmatter.co.uk to find out more.